My old rugby coach actually wants to ask Chris Cook, who is a Hall of Fame wheelchair rugby player. I don't know if you got a chance to meet him down in Kansas City, but
Yeah.
he was the older gentleman sitting there looking pretty disappointed in his team. But, hey, stick with it, and you'll get him next year. But he wants to ask, how do you feel about athletes kneeling for the national anthem? Do vets discuss this? Is it disrespecting the flag, or are there bigger picture issues discussed?
It's funny that he ended it with, or are there bigger picture issues to discuss? Because there definitely are. It's like one of those things that if I was sitting on my little brother's chest doing the typewriter to him, and he acted like it was no big deal and didn't put any attention on it, I stopped almost immediately. But you pour fuel on the fire and you start whining and crying and squirming, and I'm going to keep going, right? Because that's what big brothers do. But at the same time, like if you look at this argument, and it was made a huge deal immediately.
Yeah.
Colin Kaepernick taking a knee to stand up for what he believes he was standing up for, or taking a knee for.
Yeah, and just so we're clear, it was because of police brutality and just like kind of the injustice of. It was like
just injustice in general.
Yeah, the killing of unarmed black men, primarily at the hands of.
To be honest with you, I don't care what the exact issue was. I really don't. Like, people can say that they know what Colin Kaepernick was thinking. He can even say, this is what I was doing it for.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to it, I hear people bitching all the time about, or laughing at protesters. I think protesting is awesome. So I'm not opposed to it at all. And I think peaceful protest is like the smartest and best way to go about things. I remember during the elections, people were like laughing or complaining about people marching in the streets in certain areas and blocking.
This was 2016.
Yeah, blocking off the highways. It's like, who cares? Let them. And well, they think that it's going to make a difference, but it isn't. It is. You're talking about it.
Well, there's a reason that our right to protest is the First Amendment.
Yeah. Well, and like if you really want to drill down on it, it's like that person protesting in the street that started a little mob there and blocks off an intersection for a little bit of time before they get shooed out of there. They now have local news watching them. Local news pulls in local politicians to talk about it, or like local politicians get involved. It makes the national news circuit, like CNN or Fox or something. Now it's on the national news circuit. Now it's a public conversation that we're talking about. Protests work, and they do influence change. You can not like the change. You can protest against that, or you can vote against it. But people's voices and being heard in that way, shape, or form, as long as it's peaceful, I'm down with it.
I'm gonna just play a little bit of like devil's advocate and play kind of that other role. This isn't like what I believe or anything, but like let's just say one of their arguments is that, well, I agree with what he's protesting, but I don't agree with how he's going about it. Like he's disrespecting.
Is there a better way?
He's disrespecting the troops. He's spitting on the graves of every fallen soldier.
Do you believe that?
Absolutely. No, I'm playing devil's advocate here, but
I can't have a conversation with people that think like that. It's too hard for me. I would rather stay out of the conversation.
So here's my opinion on the thing. Like, I think it's the exact opposite. By protesting, they're exercising a right that soldier died for.
And that's a cool viewpoint on it, in my opinion. And there could be much worse ways to go about it. And I think if you're in that position and you want to make a peaceful protest, you know, people are like, "Well, you get to pay a lot of money to play a, you know, position on a team, and he's got no right to do that either." And then they started talking about the player rights and what they can and can't do, and owners' rights and what owners could force down people's throats.
Yeah.
And it's just, you know, it got out of hand quick. But as an individual and your right to protest something, or, you know, it's not like it helped his career. Not that he was, you know, going to be, you know, no offense to him or anything, but a stud quarterback.
I'm a Seahawks fan. I completely agree.
Yeah, and but I wouldn't wish everything that happened to him afterwards. You know what I mean? There are millions of people that just spend their days talking shit about him.
Yeah, or burning his jerseys.
Right.
Okay, what's that accomplishing?
Right, but at the same time, I mean, I wouldn't want millions of people doing that, you know, with me. That's not a good feeling to have. You know, that there's so many people that almost wish bad things upon you and completely disagree with an action that you took.
You know what I always found interesting was that so when it originally started happening, he used to sit on the bench, but then Nate Boyer kind of had a heart-to-heart with him and was the one that suggested, hey, it looks bad when you're sitting on the bench. Why don't you just take a knee? Because taking a knee in like the military community, at least in my interpretation, I mean, you know, we've kneeled at graves, and we've, you know, that's always been kind of a sign of respect. And that's kind of what Nate Boyer, you know, who was I want to say special force veteran, had suggested to him. And that's when that movement started happening. So imagine, what if he changed his stance? Like, what if his original stance was he was going to take a knee, but it was for veterans' rights and bringing everybody home?
Right.
How would people feel about that?
Everybody would be kneeling for the national anthem.
And the conversation would completely change.